Got them all.
What's up, Gorilla Nation? It is Relentless here, bringing you a Division 2 video. I've tried to concoct and theorize and come up with something different, something off the beaten path from what everybody else is either running or using. We know about the Berserk, the Unstoppable Force, the Strained, all of these type things, and we've also seen the clickbait titles of the new meta now that the Vector Lifestealer build is kind of got taken a little hit, and now everybody wants to run the LMG. Well, I've done the unhinged LMG filler up slash equip, the chatterbox as a secondary. I've done that. Many people are doing that. So I wanted to come up with something different. So if you enjoy it, then ground and pound that like button. If you happen to be new to the channel, then also your sub would be appreciated. And don't forget we have that membership join button so you can get exclusive perks, content, emojis, and custom loyalty badges. But I'm going to take you over to some gameplay and then we'll go over the build thereafter. Hope you guys enjoy. We'll see you in a moment. Oh, sorry, we're back. But anyways, yeah, as you can see, it works out really nice and comes in really handy in clutch situations, especially if you have to travel quite a distance to help pick up teammates. So it definitely has its uses and can come in handy. So let's hop right into it. The main components I'll go over first, and then I'll go over the secondary that more or less support this. And let's start with the chest piece. It is a Sokolov Concerned chest piece. Its attributes are weapon damage, skill power, health, bonus armor. And of course, we are utilizing the Bloodsucker. Depleting an enemy's armor adds a stack of 20% bonus armor for 20 seconds. Max stack is 5. So basically, you don't have to be the one that... or the only one, I should say, that is taking the NPC or player's armor off. It's usually done really quickly, if you all know or have been in the DZ or in conflict. The taking someone's armor off is really, really fast. Even if it's an elite boss, such as an NPC gold or named, you can actually rip through their armor quite fast. And that what allows this to stack up 5-fold, which gives you 100% of your armor. So in this case, that would put me at 410k armor. I've actually been successful with stacking it quite frequently, and it comes in really nice and handy. And in the mod slots, we have 2508 bonus armor, and the other two doesn't necessarily matter. But if you accompany that with these other two pieces of True Patriot, unlike the complete 6-piece, which I call True Trash, we have the True Patriot mask. And then with the second piece gives you 10% damage to armor, which helps further take off armor even faster. And its attributes are 8% crit chance, 2855 health, and no mod slot. Now I would like the health value to be even more, but and more importantly, instead of that 2855 health, I would like a quite probably double that in armor, because the more armor I have, the more that 20% of armor that gets multiplied, or I should say added to mine, every time I take an enemy's armor off. So the more armor that I have, the more chunk that I get every time I deplete an enemy's armor. So I can get super, super tanky and just shred NPCs or players as soon as possible. And even if, they heal, such as those medic NPCs or things of that nature, even players, you take off their armor, they get behind cover, and, they heal up just, say, a bar or two in armor, and then you take it off again. Bam, you have another 20% armor. You see where I'm going with this? It worked out really nice against those other 3 that I ran into when I was testing this build out in the Dark Zone. So it comes out in really, really handy. Now moving on to the second piece. We have 11.5% crit hit chance, and it came with abysmal 1,000 something health. So I was like, well, that's really, really bad. And I had enough supplies and resources, so I was like, let me put a little bit more health on it. So it has 4723, and then a defensive mod with 1371 health and 1% extra incoming healing and 1.37 armor regeneration, which we can't really even tell. But if you take just the Bloodsucker talent alone with the 20%. Okay. And then you're utilizing these two pieces to help further take off that enemy armor of whether it be NPC or player. And then while doing so, you activate the newly little bit nerfed safeguard. It even though it has an internal cooldown, it is still quite useful. And as you can see, I'm utilizing two pieces of 511, which is 5% protection from elites, 10% incoming healing, which works out really nice when Safeguard is activated. And then as we go to the next one, you'll see how all these things stack together. Then the attributes are crit chance, bonus armor, cooldown reduction. Instead of cooldown reduction, I prefer more skill power here. So that way I can have stronger mods in my skills. And then we have Hardened as the secondary talent, that plus 10% armor because we want as much armor as possible. And in the utility mod slot, we have 156 skill power, and the other two necessarily doesn't really matter. So after taking their armor off, we get 20% armor back, and then of course Enter and Safeguard kicks in, increases that by 150%, and then the next component is, of course, the knee pads, Defender's A/B knee pads. We get 10% assault rifle damage, and the attributes are 45-20 health. I prefer that to be armor. And then, of course, the 15% damage to elites. And then Patience. After being in cover for 3 seconds, armor repairs by 5% every second. So, imagine you're in cover, as this is a cover-based shooter, whether it be against NPCs or other players. And after 3 seconds, you're constantly getting that 5% armor. And then after you kill, you proc Safeguard. And let's say you just completely shred and mow even 3 down. Then that's another 60% armor added on to all the 5%. And all that is multiplied by the 150% of the healing and repair that you get from Safeguard. And the only thing that you're using these two pieces for here is to help shred and get that armor off as fast as possible. Now, if you want this to be strictly PvE, then you would want a mask with damage to elites on it. And if you can't get it such on these pieces as talents themselves, then you can easily, like I have, switch to this one. And as you can see, 37% damage to elites. So just for the sake, see, my armor isn't really touched that much, but instantly, just this one piece alone, I have 37% damage to elites, and then another 15% here. So you can see any named or elite bosses are going to be completely and utterly destroyed. But now, this is the only custom P416 I have been able to find, unfortunate. But, it does have preservation on it. It's not really that great, but for all the armor that I'm getting, killing an enemy repairs 5% armor over 3 seconds. So as I'm killing NPCs or players, I still get an additional, 5% on top of that. And headshots improves the repair. Such as, also if you have all in covering, have all these other things synergizing with together with Patriot, Safeguard, Bloodsucker. I mean, you can completely just sit there and dominate NPCs all day, every day. And of course, we have Stop, Drop, and Roll. It's not too bad. While equipped, rolling removes burning, bleed, and poison status effects. Can come in quite handy if you get hit with flame grenades, incinerate grenades, molotovs, things of that nature. But yeah, it comes in really, really nice. And then instead of actually putting a vector on, I've actually been using the MP5ST. I just happened to stumble across of it early on in Tier 5. And I put rate of fire on it because it already had strained, but it has 52 in the magazine. Yes, I know a vector probably could be better in this slot and probably faster at ripping that armor off. And I could easily put a vector here. I just chose not to. Because see, I do have a vector with strained on it. But I see enough of those, and I actually like the MP5ST because I have complete potato aim, so that extra bit of ammo comes in handy. So as you can see where I went with this, and I'm utilizing the specialist here, the survivalist, because it is synergizing with also the additional assault rifle damage. But like I said, you can tweak it, and if you have different true Patriot pieces, then my idea setup would be 2-piece Overlord armaments, just because it gives you 7.5% additional armor. Then the other pieces that I would have, and this is for a perfect setup, Let me find it. Right here, some Ghillie Guard. So with Ghillie Guard, one piece of it, and 2 pieces of the Overlord armaments, that would give me a total of 12.5% total armor. And then, of course, all the attributes there on it would be so far much better than what you can get on the actual true Patriots for having, 4 pieces with 10 total armor, because these can't have actually talents on them. So that's what makes, the brand sets even more viable. And you can actually be more creative with them. But let's go over the character sheet before I just continue to ramble on. I know you guys, some of you guys don't really care for that. But starting first with the MP5ST, we're sitting at 50% crit chance, 25% crit damage. No need to stack crit damage, because if I ever need to switch to that, then I can always use the strained talent, so that way it boosts that damage up. And, even if my armor's completely off, I pop up, completely shred somebody, and if I'm in cover, or I completely shred their armor off, and no L, I'm busy making a video, then, let me decline that, sorry, then, I can easily, immediately get 20% armor back from just taking off their armor as I continue to mow them down. Now, according to the custom P416, we have 30.5% crit hit chance and then 25% crit damage. We more or less are going for raw damage there, but at least we have 30.5% that we could possibly do some crits as well. So all in all, it does fairly decently. And as soon as I find one, the perfect talent that I would want on it is probably something on the lines of probably Ranger, or I even take up close and personal, even opportunist or optimistic, or I think it's opportunist. As your ammo goes down, you're actually in turn your damage goes up. But yeah, this is the only custom that I've actually been able to find, and I'm still holding on to my 447, but it is like 5k less in damage than what this one is. So it actually works out really well. It actually came across this one, even though it's complete garbage. Hadn't really came across any ARs that was really good, but yet my go-to and always my fave would be the P416. We got 29% assault rifle damage, and then of course 6.5% all weapons damage, 52% damage to elites, 207k armor, 49,529 max health, and then you can see the hazard, 16% hazard protection, bleed, disrupt, shock, all that good stuff. 9% skill cooldown reduction, and it goes on and on. But like I said, the perfect setup for me would just have, one Fenris A and B, and then 2 Overlord armaments, and then only 1 Ghillie Guard. So that way I get tons of the armor, I get the bonuses from the Fenris because I'm using an assault rifle. And then of course, depending on your PvE or how you want it on PvP, then you can have damage to elites on it or not, but you at least want some on it, because even though that the 2-piece 10% damage to armor, the armor shredder as I call it, is kind of like when it comes to armor on, named bosses or whatnot, it's kind of like damage to elites on steroids, but any other, 15-30% you can add on to that, especially if you're in DZ, because we all know that the NPCs are more or less PvP deterrents. So if you're trying to PvP, it'll help you take them out even faster during a fight, so that way you can knock off their armor and then increase yours in turn, and then continue on with the PvP. But in the PvE side, shooting from cover, utilizing it increases your survivability, especially when you have, safeguard, patience, Bloodsucker, and all these things synergizing together. But I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope it's a little different and off the beaten path. I'm having fun trying to use these different things and unison with one another, something that's different than what everybody else is doing, and having fun while I'm doing it. That's what gaming is all about. You don't have to follow the crowd. Forge your own path. Don't follow the path that somebody else has made for you. But thank you guys. We'll see you fudging later. And I'm going to get back to trying to pick up this chick. Hey, baby, you want some glitter? No? You like my moves? I mean, disco. Okay, so you're ignoring me? Yeah, you like these moves, don't you? Well, fine. You got a sister around here? I'll show her my moves. All right, give me the cold shoulder. Dang it.